Space Age Jim here, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that new guitarists make, and other guitarists as well, me included. I got to be careful not to make these same mistakes that I'm going to show you here today. And we're going to start with number 5, and that's going to be unwanted string noise. Can be a big problem for your playing. It'll create a muddy sound. Won't give you the kind of clarity you're looking for. We need to eliminate it before it gets built into your muscle memory and you've got a terrible habit built in that you have now committed to muscle memory. Let's look at a 4-string chord. We're going to play a D, and then I'm going to mute the strings 1 through 4, and you're only going to hear strings 5 and 6. Now hear that noise? That's a big problem because I'm hearing the 5th and 6th string. This is the biggest note I'm hearing right there, and it's a natural harmonic. That means it's not a fretted harmonic. It just occurs naturally when you barely touch the string. It's on the 5th, the 7th, the 12th, and they're all over the fretboard. Don't kid yourself, they're everywhere. But those are the biggest ones, and those are the ones that are typically going to make most of your sympathetic noises. Is caused by your soundboard gets to moving your strings. It's a very sensitive instrument. The guitar is alive, and it will cause those other strings to ring. Now, how can we eliminate the D chord? How can we get rid of that? Well, we can do it a couple of different ways, but number one way I would say in a 4-string chord is sneak your thumb over the 5th and the 6th string and kind of mute it. Now, the key is you still don't want to hit the 5th and the 6th string. You're playing a 4-string chord, so hit strings 1 through 4. Now, to kill that noise on the 5th and 6th string, I'm going to sneak my thumb over and touch it. Hear the difference? Without. So we've got, that's problem fixed. Let's look at a 5-string chord, an A, for instance. I'm hearing that 6th string. That's ringing out pretty bad. It's set open, or it's going to be a harmonic E note. So we can begin eliminate that by using our thumb. For a C chord, it really rings out on that C2, the open E on the 6th string. So there again, we can use our thumb to mute it, or use our 3rd finger, the tip of it. Eliminate it. That was using my 3rd finger. Different ways to do it. Let's look at the individual string. Now, I'm just removing my finger. I'm getting lots of bad noises coming out of there. So how do I eliminate that? Or my 1st or my 3rd finger. And that problem solved. You can also use your palm. Versus when that's nothing. So, be careful. It's not hard to do, but you do need to commit it to muscle memory. Now let's look at playing all the strings like a scale or something like that. So how do we eliminate that? Different ways to eliminate it, but I'm going to use my palm. Just follow it all the way up. You can use the tip of your finger, your palm. It does take some practice. Problem number 4 is not keeping good time. A lot of times you'll think that you're on the beat, especially playing solo. I've done this so many times. Get excited during the energetic part of a song and just speed up, speed up, speed up. And before you know it, you've picked up 15 beats a minute, and it'll wreck your song, because then you get to the slower part, the part that requires a lot of delicate timing, and you're going to be thrown off, and your song is just not going to come together right. So I recommend record yourself, and whenever you're recording, you'll see, hey, I really wasn't on the beat. Use a metronome a lot. Whenever you got a tricky part to a song, you should be working with that metronome until you have it down. It helps your timing and you're counting, and sometimes you find mistakes, like, woo, man, I thought that was right on, but you know what, I figured this out wrong. It's not coming out right. So you're not going to catch these mistakes without using a metronome. So you always use a metronome. That's a bit of a timing thing going on there, so a metronome was invaluable for that piece, and I will play it through a bunch of times until I get the timing down just right and make sure that everything counts out the way it should. Mistake number 3 is not hitting the right strings. It's so important to be able to hit the correct strings of, if you're playing a 6-string chord, a G for instance, this is a 3-voice G, nice pretty chord, a C, 5-string, hit strings 5 through 1, a D, strings 4 through 1, and it's giving me a clear, clean tone. Now, if I hit the wrong strings, let's see what we come up with. I'm going to only hit 4. I missed the first 2 strings, 6 and 5. So let's see what it sounds like. Now let's play a C, and we're going to hit all 6 strings when it should be 5. Uh-oh. That's the string we don't want to hear. It's because we accidentally hit it. Now you can mute it, but that doesn't get rid of it. That's what you're hearing instead of. So. Now, ideally, you'll mute it and miss it, and then you've got a tone to die for. For a D, nice clean D, nasty D will be, ouch, that's sloppy, my friend. It may sound good to you, but if you listen back to yourself, while you're playing it, it might sound good to you, but if you listen back, you'll say, no, that's not the sound I'm trying to get. So be real careful when you're practicing and build in a real fine muscle memory. Don't be a sloppy player. Be real precise. And mistake number 2 is not being able to shift chords fast enough. Whenever you're playing a song, you have to keep it moving. It has to be on time, but if you're not able to get from one chord to the next, you need to either slow the song down until you can do it, and you also need to speed up your timing. So I recommend, for instance, working with all your chords, especially in combination with your 6, 5, and 4-string chords. For instance, like a G, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you get a little faster, and even faster, that's the way you work on it. Of course, work with different combinations and like A. You get that sense of timing in your head. Now, here's an example of a fast song that you would need to be able to make sure that you get on time. I'll play it clean first time and a bit wrong the second time. Played a little bit wrong because I'm not going to get there on time. You've got to get there on time. So you got 2 choices in this case. Slow the song down to where you can get to it, or just work on getting your speed built up. Maybe play an easier song, and then before you know it, you'll get your timing down right. And because you used a metronome, you're going to sound fantastic. But you got to practice. And we've made it to number one mistake. And before we get started on that, I'd like to just congratulate you. I'm proud of you for sticking around for this entire video. And it tells me that you're a serious guitarist, that you want to improve, that you are looking at things that you are actually going to need to do to get better. And I know that you will be. So I'm glad you found this channel, and I'm glad I found you. And please subscribe, like, comment, notify. I can't tell you how much that helps out my channel, and it helps me get really motivated to make more and more videos. So let's talk about the number one mistake, and that is heavy-handed dynamics. I've had hundreds of brand new students before, and some of them can come in and they've already can play some chords, but invariably they're going to play everything heavy. Now that's just like shouting at you the whole time, and nobody wants to be shouted at. And I know it's exciting whenever you're learning a new song. I remember the first song that I learned was The Streets of Laredo, and when I learned that song, I thought I had mastered the guitar, and I played it just like that. Heavy-handed. I raked the strings. I had my tense, I loved it so much. My arm was tense, and I ignored the dynamics. But it's like shouting at somebody. You just don't want to do that. So whenever you're playing music, there are 8 levels. And it goes from FFF to PPP. FFF means forte, it's very loud, as loud as you can play. PPP is as quiet as you can play. And they're in between. There's again 8 levels, and each one is between. A medium would be like. Now, I think it is important for you, beginner, medium, advanced, anything, would be to work with your dynamics. Play songs quietly sometimes. And to play things loud. And super quiet. So I've relaxed my fingers on the pick. I've relaxed my forearm. I've relaxed my thigh, my bicep. I've unlocked my wrist, and I'm very quiet and smooth. Now, let me give you an example of how I would practice it. Practice loud, soft, and medium. And also work on building, like. I just worked on my dynamics, starting off quietly and built and built and built. So practice like that too. And remember to keep the hard parts for the big, the crescendo part of the song. But don't forget to bring it back down and keep time. And if you follow all these 5 corrective mistakes that I've just showed you, hey, you're a long way towards being a great guitar player. Because most guitar players don't follow all these. Don't follow all this, so you're ahead of the game. And I've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again soon.